Hi, I'm Joe Aston, the National Sales Manager for Vantage Finance, and thank you for listening in. I'm going to talk you through really our proposition as a master broker and give you a little bit of information about our relationship with TMA. But also really what I'm trying to do is sell you on the benefit of using a master broker and actually engaging with the specialist market and learning to refer business out that maybe isn't your core areas of expertise. There's a lot of money to be made out there and hopefully with a lot of clients to support as well. So let's dive in. The first thing that I'd say is that I'm aware and conscious that you might not have heard of us. So I'm going to give you a little introduction as to who we are. Certainly outside of the Southeast, I think, which is where we're known a little bit more thoroughly. I'll give you a bit of information on our sales points and why I think using us is a good idea. We'll talk about the market. I'll touch upon compliance, but I won't go into that in too much detail. And then the process, which I think is really interesting so that you know how you can work with us, when you can work with us, and hopefully how easy it is. And obviously, if there's any questions that you do have, you can get in touch with myself, our managing director, any one of our team, and I'll give you all of those details at the end, or of course come through the Mortgage Club. So a little bit about Vantage Finance. Firstly, we've been around actually for around 15 years, so we're an established business in this market, and I think the big badge of honour for us is surviving a recession, which we're very, very proud of course, in a very difficult climate. Lucy, our managing director, founded the business. She's still here and actually very hands-on, so still advising herself on some of our bigger deals, maybe a little bit more complex in our higher net worth clients. So Lucy's very hands-on within the team. Now the business has grown actually over the past 15 years, mostly through organic referrals, word of mouth, and a strong reputation around service. Around 4 years ago, that we ended up attracting private equity funding. Which was excellent and gave us more of an appetite to actually get our name out there, start to engage with networks and mortgage clubs, hence why we're here with TMA today. And actually the success of that investment and the way the business has grown carefully and sort of methodically led to a buyout last year. So we've been bought by, and we're now owned by the Enra Group, who are a specialist lending group, who also own a lender within the market. West One are a sister business of ours, as well as a competitor. So there's some real strengthened governance behind the scenes, which just gives us a little bit more credibility, I think, at times when we're talking about compliance and legitimacy of a business. And I'm conscious that I don't say that really for a pat on the back. It's much more about giving, you as brokers out there who might not have heard of us, comfort that this is a well-established business and a leading player in the master broking, specialist lending market, and we want to help support and do more and grow further actually. And if we can partner with you to do that, then that would be fantastic. So what do we do? As I say, specialist lending. So we broadly speaking, we like to look at all areas of property, but I think our key areas of focus here are commercial mortgages, the short-term bridging finance. Complex buy-to-let is our volume product. It's what we see most of that. Development finance, we've got some real expertise in the office. Naturally, not a volume product in the market, but a lot of value in there if you know what you're doing. Second charge mortgages, absolutely part of what we do. We do a large amount of those. Don't shout about it quite as loudly, and I think the reason for that is there's a lot of really good businesses out there, being truthful. A lot of people are doing second charge mortgages, us included, but I think we really do stand out on the commercial bridging buy-to-let development side. We've highlighted here in the presentation foreign national and expat mortgages. Now, actually, this isn't a product in itself. We can service a foreign national client or an expat across all of the products above: commercial, bridging, developments, buy-to-let, second charges. But we separate it to really highlight this is an area of real strength for us. So we've been doing it for a long time. We do a large volume. We have some of our biggest introducers and client base are out in the Far East, the Middle East. We do stuff around Europe as well. And we do have a number of exclusive products on the market with the specialist lending sort of area because of the sheer volume that we're doing and our understanding of it. So if you're coming across expat mortgages or foreign nationals and it's not something that you're particularly comfortable with, we'd love to have a chat, see if we can help. That would be great. And near the bottom, you'll see we absolutely do first charge mortgages. Generally, we see specialist or near prime stuff. High net worth probably suits us. Truthfully, broadly speaking, and I'm being flippant, but our assumption is that you're doing first charge mortgages yourself. And I think when you come to us, we're a little bit more expensive than your typical first charge broking prices. So I think really you'd come to us if there's something quite unusual about the case, but it's something we'd love to support you on if you need help. We do offer a business loan facility as well. So we have links with a number of lenders on the unsecured side, and that's something that's worth talking to us if you have clients that you think that would fit. Now, the why us piece is really interesting. I'm really keen for this not to come across too salesy, because the big dirty secret in the market, first of all, is that a lot of master brokers are very similar. There's not a lot you can do vastly different. And for me, standing out is all about the rigor in which you deliver the service. We're in a service game, aren't we? Actually, the experience that we give the client and that we give to you as an introducing partner is the most important thing. And I think people really respect transparency, honesty, good communication over potentially some results on a case, because not every case can go somewhere, which I think we've all probably seen. So there's a few little things and ways that I think we differ, that we stand out, and I'll save you some of the brand spiel and leave that there for you to have a look at. But for me, a couple of things we do differently. The first is that we don't charge our clients up front. So we do charge a fee, of course, it's specialist lending and we're a master broker, but our fees come at completion. Okay, applicable upon offer, but taken at completion. So unless your client is going to receive the loan, they're not going to pay us a penny. So we are happy to look at cases speculatively, and naturally we attract, a large amount of cases that don't necessarily have any chance of going anywhere. But by delivering a good service to those clients, naturally you're going to get their repeat business. And when they do sort of clean their own house out and get ready to move on another property, hopefully they're going to come back to you and you're going to come back to us and we're all going to benefit. So we don't charge any fees up front. Beyond that, when we see a case, we target our advising team on getting terms out, so getting to indicative terms within 4 hours. Now, it's not always possible, but the team are really switched on to aiming for 4-hour turnaround on indicative terms when we see a case. If it can't happen, the headline is that we aim for terms, but the guarantee behind that is we will pick up the phone to you or the client, whoever we're engaged with, and we will give you an update within that 4-hour window. So within half a working day, we will have updated you on where we're at. Do we need more information? Have we put the case to a lender that's a little bit slower maybe? Or maybe the case just isn't viable and we're really keen on delivering a quick no. I think there's a lot of issues in the market at the moment with people dragging their feet on a case that couldn't go anywhere from day one, and we really strive not to contribute to that problem. So speed of turnaround is really important to us. Again, really important for you. The client doesn't go shopping around. Hopefully you start to build confidence in us as a working partner, and ideally we're going to get some results from jumping on a case that quickly. Next sort of thing for us that I would class as a USB, we do take one advisor looks at a case from cradle to grave. So start to finish, we have one advisor dealing with the inquiry stage, processing the application all the way through to completion. I know some of our competitors will have a new sales team, a processing team, a completions team. It's not our method. We prefer to have one advisor, keep everything very transparent. I think that helps with communication throughout. And also, were something to go wrong or a client to perceive something to have gone wrong, there's full accountability there, and one person can deliver the answers fully and competently, which again is really, really important. We want the client to have, a smooth and successful journey with us, regardless of the outcome of the case. We have one admin per advisor, so we have one-to-one admin support. So your clients are going to be well covered in terms of the support network that they've got there. So it's a very, very simple process. And as a business, we're quite keen on, our growth and our success came from being what I often describe as an overachieving smaller business. And we try and retain that feel, and things like having one advisor is really important on that front. We don't have an automated phone system. If you pick up the phone, somebody will answer. And you or your clients will get answers to your questions very, very quickly. We always come back to people when they ask for a call back. So we take communication very seriously. And for your own peace of mind, one of the processes that I'm going to touch upon later is you can happily pass a client on day one, and actually, we will pick up with them and run this case and CC you into emails and keep you in the loop that way. There's naturally some cynicism, I think, people that haven't maybe worked with a master broker before, which I fully understand. There's a fear over what if you poach my clients, etc. Well, we would never do that, and actually it's very easy to say and hard to prove, but contractually speaking, we do offer a lifetime guarantee on a client. So if you introduce us to a client that we pick up with, and whether we're successful or not, that client comes back to us for a remortgage or a brand new property in 2, 5, 10 years time, we will let you know when the case comes in if they find us directly, and we will pay you again the exact same split on the case as we did the first time around. So you have lifetime ownership there, and we as a business put real massive importance on relationship building. And it's not just with the clients, actually it's with you as a working partner. We want you as brokers to have the confidence that you can canvass for complicated, difficult specialist finance cases, knowing you have an outlet that you can trust and who will deal with it effectively in the same way you would with your own customers. So we wouldn't cut our nose off to spite our face by trying to take a backhanded case. We're very much focused on a long-term successful relationship with you, and part of that is a lifetime guarantee on your clients. So hopefully that will sort of set at ease some natural concerns some of you may have. But if you do have any other questions, do get in touch with me on that. A couple of bits about us. I'm not going to go through all of this. I think I like to touch upon our lending panel. So we currently have just over 80 lenders on panel across all of our product range. That translates to a tier 1 panel of between 15 and 25, depending on the product. We have the ability to go off panel, and that panel actually goes across the high street banks, the challenger banks, specialist lenders, building societies, etc., and some private banks as well. I think a lot of our relationships, as you'd expect from a master broker, sit within the specialist world. So we are strategic partners with a number of lenders, your likes of Shawbrooks, Togethers, Interbay, West One, etc., etc. And with that comes naturally some advanced commissions as well, some exclusive, some semi-exclusive products that we have access to. And actually, I think one of the benefits is a line of communication into those lenders that maybe is above, the sales desk or the first level of underwriting. Actually, being able to take a common sense approach on a case that maybe doesn't tick every lender's, a tick box exercise, their criteria as standard. We've got a number of case studies where, cases have been turned down for a broker, and we've managed to get that case through with the same lender that had originally said no. And I think our expertise and our relationship there does add real value. And we as a business are constantly vocalizing, how can we add value? Are we adding enough value to the deal to warrant taking a cut of the fees? And I think our relationship with the banks and the lenders certainly justifies that. So hopefully we can help there. And it might be that there's a lender that you don't have access to, and we do have a chat. We're not going to charge you or your client up front, so it's worth the conversation. The other thing I like to talk about is our conversion rate. Now, in the specialist market, conversion from inquiries to completion is naturally very low. I think I saw a stat recently that market average is circa 10%, and we're running around that, just over. But actually, once we get a case through to application, bearing in mind we still don't charge a fee until completion, once our cases go to application stage, we completed across last year around 65% of those cases. And this year we're running at just over 70, which we're really, really proud of. Now, I can't say for sure whether that's the best out there, but it's certainly market leading, and it's something that we're very, very proud of. And again, it's not about a pat on the back here. It's demonstrating to you as a TMA member that might not have worked with us before or heard of us even, that there's some real expertise and ability to get something done within our business. And I think to be completing 7 out of 10 cases this year in the specialist sector that have gone to application stage is fantastic, and credit to our team for that. So something that long may that continue. And again, hopefully if we can help, you can have confidence that we can get the job done. The commission split. So I've referenced a number of times that there is a fee split. Typically, when we work with a DA broker that approaches us directly, we would split our fees 50-50. So we never earn more than a broker that comes to us to an introducer. That's part of our relationship model. But actually with the TMA club, you have an exclusive rate that we don't offer to anybody else at all, where you would earn 52.5% of all earnings on a case. That is of our broker fee that we collect at the end, and also the commission from the lender, We put them together and you will walk away with 52.5%. We keep 45% and the mortgage club keeps 2.5%. So you are earning more than anybody else within each transaction that you do with us. And that's through your relationship and ours with the TMA Mortgage Club. So it's an exclusive. So it's well worth you ensuring that you tell us you're part of the club if you come to us directly. It only benefits you, and we don't mind because we want to hopefully complete, 10 cases a year with you and see some real revenue come through. So yes, hopefully that makes sense. Any questions, again, get in touch. My details are at the end of the presentation. Now, the market and the opportunity, funnily enough, this is one of my least favourite slides. I think, firstly, I imagine everybody is fairly aware of a changing market and the landscape, being very quickly changing as well. Buy-to-let has changed with the increase in limited company purchase or remortgages. PRA regulation has changed for the banks. Stress testing is different now on portfolios and limited company. With Section 24, we're seeing all sorts of tax changes affecting the buy-to-let world. I think people are looking at bridging a lot more to refurbish properties. We can adapt to these all we like, but actually for me, I don't want to patronise with the market changing. The opportunity here is at the bottom. It's potentially stopping you missing out on income from a solvable problem. And my worry is that I meet a lot of brokers that say, I don't do commercial. I say no when I see them, or I turn them away, or actually that's just not something I can help with. I don't have access to this lender, that lender, etc. We want to be that point of reference for you of, is a case doable? I'll repeat, we're not charging your customer up front. So there is no risk to the customer to engage with us to see if we can help. And actually long term, my aim and ours as a business is to give you the confidence to advertise on your own website and through your own marketing channels to canvass for this specialist work, whether you have an intention of servicing it yourself or not. Actually, by partnering with a trusted master broker, you can actually start to canvass for your development finance, commercial, some more complicated bridging or buy-to-let, and we can help service those cases for you. And, we're all walking away with an equal share, or not in this case, actually, with you with a slight majority. And it should be a really successful and positive relationship. We all earn at the same time. The customer gets the loan that they're after. And it's worth saying as well that although we can happily act as a referral dumping ground, I don't think any of us come off particularly well from that model. So we will always sort of project ourselves to your client as a working partner of yours. That's the phrasing we typically use. So we're an extension of your business. So we want you to have the confidence to embrace these cases that maybe are outside of your expertise, and maybe you don't want to upskill yourself, or you don't want to have to add resource to your team. By partnering with us, you can still earn from them, whilst retaining that client for life and potentially servicing their other cases. So please bear that in mind. And again, any questions, come back to me. So the products, this is it's a non-exhaustive list anyway, but it fleshes out the 6 or 7 bullet points at the start a little bit, and I think puts a bit more colour on them. Studio apartments, commercial investments, flats above shops, semi-commercial, anything above restaurants, takeaways, I'm sure you understand are more difficult to do. We can do land with or without planning permission, light, heavy refurbishments, change of use, right to buy, adverse credit, your expat buy-to-let. I think when we talk about complex buy-to-let, what does that look like? It's HMOs, portfolio landlords, that limited company shift we've seen in the market over the last couple of years, clients paid in a foreign currency. So there's all sorts there to sort of digest. And if you like this slide at all for any reference, then let me know. I won't dwell on it too much, but it's just to demonstrate that specialist lending maybe goes beyond what you think when you just think of a commercial mortgage. Actually, there's a hell of a lot more to it. And luckily, we're pretty in tune with the wider specialist market, and I like to think we can service no matter the situation, or at least give it a good go. So a few case studies to go into. A couple of things I want to point out here. I mean, I'm not going to dwell too much on the ins and outs of the case. It's more about the opportunity. And if you're seeing cases like this, we can do them. But not only that, you're going to earn very handsomely from them. Now, the earnings I've put on these cases are based on a 50-50 split, so your earnings would be a little higher, actually, funnily enough. But we'll dive in. The first case was a very complicated semi-commercial. It was an expat, real complex needs. They were paid in foreign currency, paid out in Hong Kong. They had some financial issues in the background, some credit issues. The issue here was they were going to lose their property. Okay, and it was a nicely sort of yielding semi-commercial investment. It was a £500,000 loan, just over. And this was one of those cases where it just needed to get done. The rate didn't matter. It was just find somebody that will lend to us. And we managed to. And as you can see, it's a high rate, it's 9.99%. It's a 62% loan to value. And the positive thing here is that you will walk away with just over 6,700, obviously with the difference split, as did we. Some fantastic earning there on a £500,000 case, which had been turned down by every lender the broker had approached. We got it through. And not only that, this is a slightly older case because from the job that we did on this, we also serviced the remortgage out of it. And we actually remortgaged these clients onto a 4.5%, 4.5% deal on the high street, just off the high street. And we got another £7,000. So the earnings there aren't necessarily just in the transaction, but they're in the relationship. And that's something that we take very, very seriously, is looking at the long term here of how can we help. And by just helping to save this property for these clients on a 2-year fix, we got a second deal and they were thrilled. So really good opportunity with a difficult circumstance. And again, fantastic earnings for both of us. The next case is really interesting. It's FirstTime Landlords. They're purchasing a limited company and there were social tenants involved in the house. It was 3 directors. Really difficult. They had sort of the lenders pulling out left, right and centre. One of the lenders that the broker that brought this to us had approached had said no. And funnily enough, that was the lender that we actually managed to get it through with. So again, this is a good example of our relationship and understanding of a lender process. Enabling us to, get a result where it seemed it couldn't be achieved. What we did was take a really common sense, holistic approach to this. We looked at the directors. Actually, yes, they were first-time landlords. However, they had each earned around £60,000 a year the year prior through property development. So they were around the market, although they didn't own property. And actually, with regards to the social tenants, they were coming in on board with 2-year agreements. And so it was a much safer investment for them, and also there was less risk for the lender. We managed to get this through. It's an £800,000 loan. It's a decent deal. It's a big loan. But we got it through at 3.9% above LIBOR. So it's a really competitive rate for 3 guys that had been told this wasn't doable previously. It was almost maxed out loan to value, 74%. And again, the opportunity here for you, commercially speaking, is ourselves and the introducing broker walked away with £10,000 in this case. And obviously with the TMA club, you would walk away with slightly more than that. So some real value in this deal, and something that the introducing broker was about to walk away from, which would have been a real shame. And then again, I'm conscious that these are sort of larger loans, but we service anything, from 10 grand further advances all the way up to your 20 millions, etc. This was a bridging loan. So this developer had gone, their bridging loan was about to expire. The work had taken a lot longer than initially expected. The bridging lender he'd originally borrowed from actually wanted to charge him a huge penalty fee that would wipe out his profits. That was the problem. Even if they needed the loan for another 3 months. So extending the loan wasn't an option. They wanted to charge him extension fees. So we had a very short window. We had 2 weeks, as discussed, to source this. To get it done for a guy that had gone over his bridging loan. We managed to source it within 10 days at 0.95%. Loan to value was 50%. It's a £1 million loan. The client is happy. We found a solution very, very quickly through our relationships, our expertise in this area, in this space. And the broker and we have walked away with £13,500. Some real revenue in this market. And it would be a real shame for you as brokers not to be engaging with this because maybe it sits outside of your core business. And I'll hammer it home. The point that really we want to get across here is, even if it's not us, you as a business should be looking at engaging with a master broker. And we'd love the opportunity to do that. But I'm a big advocate for the master broker model. I think it's a great way of adding income without adding to your team or upskilling yourself and investing that time. And as I say, hopefully we can be that referral option for you. Compliance and governance. I'm not going to speak too much about this. We have a team of 6 at group level. We have 1 full-time in our office as well. We take compliance very, very seriously. We are heavily audited, as you'd expect from a busy master broker in this market. All of our advisors deal with anything regulated as CMAT qualified, as you'd expect. And I think this really is here just to give you, again, some comfort that there's a credible business here that is well established and wants to help, and a business you can trust, crucially. The process. So a couple of things to say here. I find this slide at times a little patronising. It's a very standard underwriting process and advising process here. What I want to point out is where I think we add the most value. So the inquiry comes to us, most likely through yourselves. We'll assess. We're aiming to get to terms within that 4-hour window, at the very least an update. And then where I think we really add value is actually the application process. So gathering the information, instructing vals, packaging the application up, engaging with the lender on that front, getting to formal terms and to the offer. We want to take that responsibility away from you. We want to take that business on so that you can focus on your core work, so that we can get it done as efficiently as possible. And again, when we think about our value add, that I think is it, because it's not just getting a case done, it's also a time save for you. For those of you, forgive me, that might not have done a commercial mortgage before, it quite often catches people out that I deal with quite how much more goes into it than, a residential first. And there's no exaggeration to say a commercial fact find is 4-5 times the sort of size of a residential first one. So there's a hell of a lot of work, and you don't want to be bothering yourself in that if it's something that you're not going to proceed with in the future. So it's just to stress that that's where I think we add the most value. We will get involved with chasing solicitors and chasing through the legal process. And then upon completion, the client follow-up is pushed back to you. We as a business don't sell, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, we don't sell any insurance. So we don't do GI, we don't do protection, because we want you to have the confidence that we're not trying to take your client relationship. Actually, that aftercare process is left to you. We want to service the transaction you bring to us as competently as possible for a great successful scenario at the end of the day, so that they come back to you and you come back to us. And we want you to have faith that that client remains yours. So client follow-up is passed back to you. And here's just a very quick visual representation of what it could look like if you want us to take the lead on the contact. So in this case, we're talking about advice. So it's referencing a regulated case, but the same sort of sentiment is true on the unregulated side. If you want us to advise on a regulated case, we're happy to. What that means, as you can see from the left, is that we will take on the responsibility of contacting the client from day one all the way to the end. We will keep you in the loop. We'll CC you in. We'll keep you in the loop with regular updates all through the fact find advice process. And again, at completion, they're passed back to you. Alternatively, if you want to advise, we're restricted as to the areas that we can engage and where you have to take the lead. But it works on the unregulated side too, because if you want to remain the middleman and have main line of communication with the client, that is okay. It just means that there'll be stuff that we'll ask you to do as part of that process. And I think the better way of working with us is by letting us take the lead. But we're very flexible. We're a bespoke business that case by case basis can change as and when. If you've got a relationship with a client you want to hold, fine. If it's someone that you're not as bothered about passing over, again, fine. Bring that up with us day one with each case, and we'll run it on your call. So pretty straightforward. Again, I'll repeat, any questions, come back to me. Testimonials, I'm not here to blow our own trumpet, to be honest with you. I think anybody can show you a number of good testimonials and make a business look good. We'll highlight a TMA referral, which I like. A personal touch one, actually. Gary Fairhall, good business. Had been working with his network and his panel for a long time, had been really struggling. Really pleased to work with us. So, we're pleased that that's a strong relationship moving forwards. We've got a number of TMA businesses that we work with currently, but I don't want to dwell on that. It's not, for me, about bigging ourselves up. I think trust is earned, not given. And, we'd love for you to take a leap of faith and give us a go. And I'm pretty confident that the caliber of our team will impress you and you'll want to do more. And hopefully we're all going to earn from it. So, fingers crossed we can move forward with some cases. Contact details for you. We're a very transparent business. We are very open. We want to hear from you. Good, bad, anything. My details are there, my phone number and my email address, as are Lucy's, our managing director. We're both approachable if you need us. The one email address that's not on there that I think is worth taking down, if you've got this far with us, so thank you for sticking with me, is inquiries@vantagefinance.co.uk. So that's inquiries@vantagefinance.co.uk. And if you sent an email to that email address, that will go to our entire team. And the advisor with the sort of best area of expertise for that case and with the most capacity within their own pipeline will get back to you very, very quickly. Alternatively, again, coming down to us being a flexible, this overachieving smaller business, many ways you can inquire with us. Call me. Let's talk it through first, no problem, and I'll get the right advisor to call you back. Send me an email, again, no problem. Do the same with Lucy, do the same with our team. And our office number is there as well, and you can just call and have a chat with an advisor straight away if you want, 01753 883 195. And we'd love to hear from you. If I could close with this to sort of echo the sentiment again, if you're not working with a master broker, if you're turning away business, I think you should look into it. Hopefully we're going to be somebody that you'd like to give it a go and we can become a long-term working partner of yours. But it's a thriving industry if you go to the right people, and there's some good businesses out there. We're absolutely one of the leaders of that pack. And hopefully we can help. So please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you, and thanks again for listening. Thanks very much.